Alright, so, this is going to be my review of Danny Ketch, Ghost Rider. This was a comic that was sent to me, part of the Marvel Haul from Chris. Chris, thank you once again for the book. So this is one of those lost stories kind of comics where, you get a classic writer to come back and do a storyline with, do a lost story of their run. And it's gonna be about the Danny Ketch era of Ghost Rider, written by Howard Mackie. So, a few things. Danny Ketch is my boy. Like, if you ask me what my favorite Ghost Rider is, it's always going to be Danny Ketch. It's always that was the Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider is so Danny Ketch Ghost Rider is so 90s, and it's probably the Ghost Rider we all know the best. And also, I know what you're thinking, well, what about Johnny Blaze? Johnny Blaze I give no discredit to. There's no discrediting Johnny Blaze, but, like, you look at the two movies with Nicolas Cage, and you look at all the other stuff, they just take stuff from Danny, because Danny just had more stuff. Like, Danny had a rogues gallery, Danny had a story, a convoluted, and one that didn't make any goddamn sense, but still... there was things like you could it makes you almost go, why the hell don't we just do a storyline with and you may be thinking, well, Johnny had Mephisto. No, he didn't have Mephisto until the 90s with Danny. Same with Blackheart. Blackheart even, in fact, was a Daredevil villain before he became a Ghost Rider villain. Like, really think on that. Still fucks with my mind to this day. Blackheart started out as a member of Daredevil's Rogues Gallery, and then he got moved to Ghost Rider, more appropriately. Just like how, Daredevil got Kingpin from Spider-Man, or Wolverine got Sabretooth from Iron Fist. Funny how the Marvel Universe works, right? Anyway, so this is a lot shorter. And by a lot short, I mean by one issue. Because most of the Lost Tales kind of comics are basically, they are 5 issues long. This one's only 4. So it's 1 issue shorter. And reading this comic made me go, yep, Howard Mackie has not changed as a writer. And that's both good and bad. Because, Howard Mackie's, style of writing is over-explanation and reiterating what we just said 2 paragraphs ago. So seeing that again, and also it took me a while to corner what time this is supposed to be set during Danny Ketch's Ghost Rider run. Where in time are we? Because Johnny and Danny are brothers, but they don't bring up the fact they're brothers. Stacy Dolan, Danny's girlfriend, who's a cop, is still hunting the Ghost Rider, and what else? A Death Watch has been overthrown. So my mild guess is that this is set somewhere in the early issues of Danny Ketch's Ghost Rider era. Is that this is probably, I'd say, post issue 25 at most. Somewhere in issues 1 through 30, we're in that era, but I could be wrong. But yeah. So let's actually talk about the story of this comic. So the story is that Danny is just out being Ghost Rider, and he's been kind of working himself to a limit. But now there's this new villain who calls himself the Broker, who works for this demon who he wants all he does is eat. His boss just eats, and he's called oh god, I can't remember his name because he's so forgettable. But all he does, his whole thing is he's fat and he eats people. That's really it. And he's stolen a piece of the medallion that is connected to Ghost Rider. If you guys remember, or just don't know, Danny, how he transformed before, he could just do it, let the Rider out on a whim. He had to, it's like Thor's hammer. He had to, physically touch this medallion on the bike to let out Ghost Rider, in case, as long as there was innocent blood being spilled or innocent being attacked. So a piece of that medallion chipped off during the war against Mephisto and whatever, and this demon ate it. This guy ate it. I think they said he was a Morlock, so he was technically a mutant at some point. He ate it, and then he became this big fat hungry guy, and his emissary called the Broker breaks, like, they want to kill Ghost Rider because they see it senses power, so they unleash what I would consider to be Danny's arch nemesis, Blackout. Blackout and Scarecrow. Yes, there is a Marvel Scarecrow, and funny enough, that Scarecrow was a Captain America villain before becoming a Ghost Rider villain. Funny how, again, we cycle back to that. So, using both Blackout and Scarecrow, the broker sends them out to attack Danny and Johnny, who, Johnny, again, he has his wife and kids, which, if you know what happens to him, it's nothing good. So it was cool to see that, and Caretaker is trying to mitigate the situation. That's really it, and they reiterate that every 3 pages. Like, they reiterate, like, I just saw this story, and man, I gotta tell you, there's some good action. The comic isn't like, oh my god, it's deep and introspective. In fact, none of them are. None of these Lost Era stories are deep and introspective. It's just kind of nice to go back to that well. But, man, Mackie, you have not changed as a writer, and I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. It is fun because, again, I have a whole collection of Danny Ketch Ghost Rider comics that I love. Even it's very much like how I love Spawn comics, where it's fun junk food, but this does remind me of, like, the writing style. And it also just ends. Like, I do feel like this should have been a 5-issue comic like the other ones, but like it just cuts off. Like, it cuts off. And you're just like, oh, that's the end, okay. And also, the guy they bring in with this villain doesn't feel that very threatening. So, it's a decent book. I'm gonna have to recommend this if you are a major Danny Ketch Ghost Rider fan. If you really love Danny Ketch and you've been because Marvel has really, like, told Ketch to fuck off. The only person who seems to care about him is Ben Percy, but he's still riding with Johnny. Like, at the bare minimum, it's just nice to have a comic where Dan Ketch is the Ghost Rider. Like, to see Dan Ketch as the main Ghost Rider and not a supporting Ghost Rider. So thank God for that. And I do have, like, a soft spot for this comic. So, Chris, I'd like to thank you once again for this comic. I kind of knew that I had a feeling, because he doesn't tell me everything in the haul. He likes to keep some surprises. But I had a feeling when this comic was announced, I was like, he's sending this to me, isn't he? But yeah. So there you go, guys. If you've read Danny Ketch Ghost Rider, which the full title is Danny Ketch Ghost Rider, Blood and Vengeance. So I'm just going to call it Danny Ketch Ghost Rider. But if you have read this miniseries, let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of it. Comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.